You're up, Commissioner.
Okay, thanks. So what we're doing is talking to every department that has takes vehicles home. So we want to know justification wise, what's the reasoning, the expense, and what's going on with it.
Okay, so in my office, we do, each of our vehicles are set up, they have our kits in them, they have all of our tools that we use, so like my personal PPE, not my personal, but my issued stuff is set up in my truck. Each vehicle is set up that we can operate and work out of it. They're issued, as I looked around, we kind of followed suit. You have accountability. You have one vehicle that you're responsible for. You keep it clean, you take care of it, you know. The accountability falls on one person, opposed to like fleet vehicles when everybody's using just whatever. The other side, the reason we take them home is basically on efficiency. When we get called out, there's times we get called out multiple times a night. That's just at night. Maybe if we're not home, we have to go home, change out, get ready to go, and then, you know, if we left them at the office, we'd have to respond to the office and then go, which causes another, I don't know, it's probably 30-minute response just as it is, even being home. You're added that extra time to go to the office. And so when we're talking about the other offices and departments that we work with, they're waiting for us to get there, so we don't want them waiting. Not to mention the people that we serve, they've got a decedent that's on the ground or wherever they're at until we can get there and do our things so that we can get them in a more presentable position. So that's why we operate that way.
And you have 2 vehicles?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Question?
Do you never have your own families in vehicles?
No, not at all.
And what was the other one I was going to ask? Personal use, taxable, I guess is.
Theirs are treated like first responders, so they've not been taxed.
Okay.
So the only time we use our vehicles is if we are working, which means we get called out before we ever get in the vehicle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, how taxable French works, if it's a non-qualifying vehicle, is your commuting miles.
Mhm.
So every day that you work, the time from home to work
Right.
is commuting. So
Sure.
that's what you would be Frenched on.
Yeah, and basically we just, when we're supposed to be we're, you know, a lot of the time I will leave and go to meetings. Like today, I haven't even been out to the office yet because I've just been meeting to the next. So,
Okay.
and that's the way we use them. We're not using our vehicles unless it's for business purposes. So,
And I'll just ask Jason's questions. He's
yeah.
not here. His general thing is, where do you report to when you get in your vehicle?
Mhm.
So if you are reporting to the office,
Mhm.
then, and then the other one is, well, I went blanking. How often do you get called out? You're good. You're good.
How often are we getting called out? I mean, we'd have to look at it, but yeah, I mean, we get called out at night. I mean, the other night, take the semi-crash. We had 2 of us out working the semi-crash, and then we had the other one got called out for an OD in Pocatello. So, I mean, it's definitely, we get called out after hours, probably pretty frequent, probably just as much as we do during hours. But it's an unknowable.
And that, like I said, that's his 2 questions that he asked all the
Yeah.
time. So, go ahead.
Um,
Anything else?
No, just the rate of the call out was one that we've been trying to focus on a little bit.
True.
Okay. That's our question. That's what we've asked everybody else.
And I don't, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one to have to, I don't know how, other than to, the difference is, I guess, so like, I would say the sheriff's office could be able to do something like that for sheriff's calls, right? Like they can go back and check their radio history and see maybe, but we don't keep track of like when we get called out. We just make sure that we're logging all of our calls.
But just on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
you're getting called out.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, some of them have been a couple times a month, some of them have been, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what we're just looking at is
Yeah,
departments
and
and how
that's the
often.
thing is that it could, not only do we get called out maybe once a night, it could be, I think, what, last Saturday? So Saturday, I got called out, we went out to, what was that, Porcupine Pass, Lava. Took a call up there, I got home, I had enough time to make me some dinner, watch a TV show, and then we got called out again after that. So, I mean, it's multiple times, and it's various of where and who and what. So basically, when we're addressing this and starting to set this up, we just looked around to what are the other policies, and the people that work and do kind of the closest to what we do is like detectives for Bannock County or detectives for Pocatello. So we just kind of talk to them and kind of follow in line with what they do and how they operate the same way, because it makes the most sense, and they're structured like our county. They deal with city and county, so we just kind of structure it the same way. And I always try and think about, like we talked earlier, resources. The longer they have to wait for us, or you think about the service end of what we do, somebody's person's either on the ground in the living room or on the ground in front of it. Nobody's moving anything until we get there, so we want to do what we can to try and get there as soon as we can. And so, like for instance, if we have something out Chubbuck or north end of the county, if we were to have to drive out to the office, he would have to get home, swap out, then drive out to the office, and then go back out north. So when we look at what we're spending versus what we're actually, we believe this is the most efficient way to do things.
Yeah, like I say, we're looking at what's best for the county,
Sure.
what's policy,
Right.
and that's why we brought every office in independently, because each one of you is different.
Different, yeah.
And we
all have
want to
different-
know
Mhm.
specifically for each office.
Yeah.
It's like other things, maybe we can't have a countywide policy, but
Right.
maybe we have to direct
Yeah.
to each office a little bit differently.
Yeah, and just have some guidance to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck, if you will.
Yeah. Like I say, there's a lot of things that have changed, just talking with Road and Bridge. I mean, they've already made some big changes from what I'd heard was happening, so
Yeah,
we always appreciate each office being aware.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys got any, I mean, what's your thoughts? Feedback, anything?
Right now,
Just off the cuff, anything?
I don't. Like I say, this was just kind of exploratory to me,
Sure.
and so we're gonna look at things and evaluate. I mean, your justifications sound good,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you.
All right, you bet. Thank you, guys.
All right.